I was walking in the jungle with many roads and many crossroads, and the trees were so thick that you could not see from one road to the other. And it's on one of those roads that I met him. He was sitting at the side of the road with his head in his hands, crying. So I asked him, "Why do you cry? Why are you sad?" And he said, "I have to reach my destination. It is very important that I reach my destination. But I don't know what my destination is. Everyone I talk to has a different opinion on what my destination is, but they all agree that it's very important that I reach it. But how can I reach my destination if I don't even know where I am? Every crossroad I encounter looks the same to me, so I never know which road to choose. I'm totally lost." So I looked at him, I looked at his pocket, and I said, "Why don't you use that?" He looked at me. "How can I use this? This is a box I have. I'm not sure why I didn't throw it away. Because all it does, it sometimes makes some noise. And it's an annoying noise. It's a buzz I don't really like. I have no use for it." So I took his box and I tuned his radio. And a voice came out of it. "I can help you. I know how to get you to the destination. I know on every crossroad which road to choose. I can help you." So he looks at me and he asked, "Where is that voice come from?" "Well, look above you," I said. "Do you see that chapter? In that chapter there is your heart. And the heart can see above the trees, and he sees all the roads, and he knows which road to choose. Listen to her and you will reach your destination." "How do you know all this?" asked that ego. "Well, look at the sky again. Do you see another chapter beside yours? That's mine, and that's my heart. And my heart tells me stuff. That's how I know." You see, in our materialistic society, it is preposterous to think that anything outside of our brain would be able to think or to know. Therefore, it must be our brain's responsibility to figure out everything. Our brain must figure out the present, the future. Our brain is responsible for our past. And the brain was never designed to do all that. Our ego was never designed to do all that. Because the ego and the brain are the same thing. Or at least the brain is a physical representation of the ego, and the ego is a metaphysical counterpart of the brain. But if you would be tasked with such an impossible task, you would also be beside the road crying. It's no wonder that our ego is in such a mess, and it's therefore no wonder that our society is in such a mess. But there are those who understand that there is so much more of us than just the brain or just the ego. That there is a non-ego part of us, that it physically represented by the heart. But then too often when they realize that the ego is the one that is suffering, the ego is the one that is in such a mess, and that the non-ego part of us is not, they decide that we must get rid of the ego. But you could get rid of the ego if the ego would be a physical part. If we would be physical, an ego would be just one physical part of us. Then we could chop it off or something. But ego is just a quality of us. Like the ice is just a quality of water. All water can be ice. You just need to add coldness and you get ice. It's not that it's just one part of water ice and the other is not. What do I mean by that? In this lifetime, in this reality, the ego is the I am my name, I am my job, I am my nationality. It's adapted to this reality so that we can experience this reality. But outside of this reality, ego still exists. It's just that it's the I am part of us. Just I am, because I have nothing to grasp on, and I don't need to grasp on anything. But still, that's the ego part of us. If we wouldn't have an ego in any situation, we would not be able to know that we are in any situation. We would not have consciousness. So, when they decide to get rid of the ego, and I don't know, I heard, for example, someone say that all spirituality that comes from ego is false. Okay. They sometimes, I don't know, meditate, they don't eat and drink for 6 months, I don't know what they do. And at the end they decide that they were able to get rid of the ego. And if our soul would be represented by a building, they visit that building to see if there are any remains of the ego. And that building has many rooms, and every room has a door. So they walk to every room, and there is someone opening every door and showing them, see, no ego here, see, no ego here, see, no ego in this room either. So when they check all the rooms, they are satisfied because there was no ego. But do you know who was opening the doors? Because if you would not have an ego, you would not care if you have it or not. That's the job of the ego, to care. So if we cannot get rid of our ego, what can we do then? Do you remember the ego that was sitting on the side of the road? His backpack is full of responsibilities that are not his, tasks that are not his. It's full of baggage that it's just that weight on his shoulder. We should liberate him from that, so that he will be able to see the trees, smell the flowers, enjoy the animals on the road. But how do we do that? We should give our ego and our heart their right roles, and we should help them do that by loving them, by loving ourselves. Because, first of all, the love is the energy that will help them to heal, will help them to communicate, will help them to evolve. And at the end of the day, love is what we are. If we forgot that, it doesn't mean that we are not. And there is another thing I'd like to mention. I hear more and more people talking about our inner child. Do you know what would you find if you would remove all the baggage from your ego? Your inner child. Because when you first incarnated into this world, your ego was still free, still joyful, still playing with this reality like a child does. But then nobody killed that child. That child was suffocated by roles that were not his. And when we take those roles away from him, the child is reborn again, or discovered again. It's still the same child. So my friend, enjoy the ride, smell the flowers, love your ego and your heart as you would love yourself, because they are part of you and you are part of them.